Hello everyone and welcome to a new reading vlog. Please do ignore the state of me, I definitely do not look my best, but I am just about to head off for a dog walk. We are going to take Kiwi on what will hopefully be a really nice walk. I think we're going to meet Tom's parents there as well, and yeah, just take in the start of the new year because, ooh, Happy New Year! I haven't said that yet. It's currently the 2nd of January. I took yesterday off from doing any kind of filming because I just needed it, to be honest with you, and I thought that I should give myself a little time before diving straight back into YouTube and starting my January TBR. So I haven't actually started any books yet, but the first book that I would like to read this month is The Butcher and the Wren by Elena Urquhart. This is a new purchase for me. If you've seen my book haul, you'll know that I got it towards the end of December. But ever since I bought it, I've just been so desperate to read it because it sounds amazing and it really does sound like my type of book. So I'm hoping that by choosing this as my first book of the year, that I am going to kick off 2023 with what will hopefully be a favourite. So I will just read you the synopsis for this. It says, Wren was never afraid of the dark until she learned that some monsters are real. In deep Louisiana, a serial killer with a taste for medical experimentation is completing his most ambitious project yet. The media call him the Butcher, and so far he's proved impossible to catch. With her encyclopedic knowledge of humanity's darkest minds and years of experience examining their victims, forensic pathologist Dr. Wren Muller is the best there is. The longer the Butcher's killing spree continues, the more determined she is to bring him to justice. And yet, he continues to elude her. As body after body pile up on Wren's examination table, her obsession grows. Pressure to put an end to the slaughter mounts, and her enemy becomes more brazen. How far is Wren willing to go to draw the Butcher into the light? Doesn't that just sound amazing, you guys? It sounds so creepy, so hopefully I do get those vibes throughout the book, which I'm sure I will. But what's interesting about this is that the author herself is actually an autopsy technician, and so she definitely has a lot of knowledge about crime and dead bodies and things like that, and so I definitely think that that will be a really interesting thing to read about because I'm sure that she will present us with a lot of different facts, and hopefully that will just make this book even more compelling and I guess closer to the real thing, because a lot of thrillers I find are quite far-fetched, but with the author having the knowledge that she does, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be quite a good, insightful read, and yeah, I honestly can't wait. I think I'm going to try and start this in the car, depending on whether I'm driving or not. I think Tom will drive, so hopefully I can do that. And then to be honest with you guys, I haven't even thought about an audiobook or another book that I'm going to read for this vlog, so you'll have to bear with me at the minute. But yeah, this is the first book that I've chosen to read, and as I've said countless times, I am very excited for it. For now though, I do have to go. The weather yesterday was awful, so I'm really excited to go out now, have some fresh air, clear my head, and spend time with family. So yeah, I will of course bring you guys along with us and film as much as I can. Kiwi på sine! Hei Kiwi! Du har vett! Kiwi, se den då! Cookie! Guys, I do have some updates for you, but before I dive into those, I do just want to apologise for the mess behind me, if you can see that. I have just filmed an unhaul video, and so a lot of books have come off of my shelves and are just scattered about everywhere. So yeah, sorry if you can see that. I also want to apologise for the fact that throughout this video I am probably going to be in either this dressing gown or my hoodie. It is freezing right now, and as soon as I get into the house I just throw on this. I normally have a blanket next to me as well that I can just chuck on, or my hoodie, as I mentioned. That is such a good purchase. I'm so glad I actually invested in one of those last year. But yeah, it's extremely cold. Our gas and electric bill last month was, I think, £250, so we're definitely not going to be putting the heating on this month because, yeah, it's just getting ridiculous if you ask me. But that's besides the point. I do actually have some updates for you. As I mentioned, I am now around 130 pages, I think, into the Butcher on the Wren. I don't have a bookmark still, which is not great. Yeah, around that part. I can't quite remember, but that means I am just over halfway, I'd say. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I am actually really enjoying this one so far. This is definitely a quick read. It opens with a bang straight away, which I didn't expect at all. We just get straight in there. We get the perspective of the serial killer throughout this book, which is really, really interesting. But yeah, just for your guys' information, I'm not going to spoil it, of course, but this first chapter does start with a torture scene that is very graphic and detailed and gruesome, and yeah, it definitely made me feel uncomfortable, which is obviously how it's meant to make you feel. So yeah, you've thrown in there straight away, but that is kind of what I was looking for from this book. I really did want that gruesome element to it, which sounds very strange, I know, but yeah, it's really cool to be in the mind of the serial killer as he is committing these murders, and the kind of build up to each murder as well. It's so sadistic to see inside his head and see the thoughts running through and how he's just so unaffected by everything. It's honestly crazy. But yeah, definitely a trigger warning for torture, murder, and all the other things that are kind of encompassed within those bubbles. So definitely not for the faint of heart. And if you think that this might be triggering for you in any way, or you think that this isn't really something that you would gel towards, please don't read it, because as I mentioned, you're thrown straight in from the get-go, and it does seem to only get worse. So that is just something that I wanted to note. We of course also get the perspective of Dr. Ren Muller, who is the forensic pathologist, which again is so interesting because the author has that knowledge. And so as Ren is going to crime scenes and kind of interpreting the case, it is really interesting to see the scientific background behind that. And things are explained, but I wouldn't say that they're overly explained. I think the way it's done is quite good, and yeah, I didn't feel really stupid reading it, and I didn't feel like this author was trying to be condescending in any way. So yeah, so far the two main characters are definitely very interesting. The side characters as well, actually. We don't see too many side characters at the minute, but I'm sure that we will see more of them as these cases get more and more serious, I suppose, because obviously with any sort of police investigation, the more serious the crime is, the more people you have on board to help. So I definitely think that is going to be the case. So ultimately, I am really enjoying it so far. I have no idea where it's going though, because again, it's a very short book, and so far a lot has happened, but there isn't really any kind of leads that point to the serial killer from what I can get, at least. And I just have no idea how it's going to wrap up in about 100 pages or so. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. It'll be interesting to see what I think of it, because my issues with a lot of thrillers is that the first half of it is fantastic, and then the second half just kind of dips because the author's trying to wrap everything up, but some things don't quite make sense, some things are rushed into, and yeah, I feel like I don't enjoy the second half as much, and I end up being a little bit disappointed by it at the end. So I'm hoping that that isn't the case for this one, but so far it is definitely an enjoyable read. It's one where I do fly through it when I pick it up. However, you guys know me at the minute, I am not dedicating time at the minute to sit down and read. So I did do the other night, and obviously I've read a good chunk of this book, so I think that my plan for tonight is to sit down and get through as much of this as possible. Hopefully I can finish it, so that would be really good. But I'm gonna have a bath, I'm gonna make tea, and so we'll see how much time I actually have to sit down and read. And then the second update I have is that I've started listening to The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I do have the cover, but it's up there. Do I go and get it? Yeah, I'll go and get it. 2 seconds. Right, there we are. I did just go and get it for you guys because I'm not that lazy. Like, I am, but I thought you guys might want to see the cover. But this is the first book in the Poirot Murder Mysteries. Now, if you guys don't know, I am a massive Agatha Christie fan. I have been reading all the Miss Marple books throughout last year, and I'm happy to say that I did finish them. So I'm now moving on to the Poirot books, and let me tell you, I am so excited. I just have a feeling that I'm going to love these books even more. The ITV adaptations featuring David Suchet as Poirot are some of my favourite ever things to watch. If there's one on, I'm watching it. It doesn't matter if I watched it before, I have to just sit down and get immersed in it, and oftentimes I have forgotten who the culprit is because the mysteries are just so complex. There are so many different characters that could be responsible for deaths and whatever's going on. So yeah, I definitely feel like that is going to be the case reading these as well. So on the back of this one it says, recently there had been some strange goings on at Styles St Mary. Evelyn, constant companion to old Mrs Inglethorpe, had stormed out of the house muttering something about a lot of sharks, and with her something indefinable had gone from the atmosphere. Her presence had spelt security. Now the air seemed rife with suspicion and impending evil. A shattered coffee cup, a splash of candle grease, a bed of begonias. All Poirot required to display his now legendary powers of detection. So that doesn't really give too much away. I'm not too far into it, to be honest with you, and I am listening to the audiobook, so I don't know how far through I am, but honestly I feel like I should be reading the physical copy, because if you see that, we actually have some little diagrams throughout, which I had no idea about. I just saw that as I was flicking through. So I might have to try and pick this up physically as well when I can. But I did decide to listen to the audiobook, one, because they are available on Scribd, and two, because I am struggling a bit to find time to sit down and read physically. However, on my drive to and from work, I can listen to this. When I take the dog for a walk, I can listen to this. And I think it's just a really easy way to be able to consume the story and also fit it into my day and my routine. So that's why I've decided to go for this one, and I am really enjoying it. The murder has occurred. It is actually a locked room mystery, which are some of my favourites, and I definitely think it's going to be a complex one because I have no idea what's going on from the get-go. As I mentioned, there are always so many different characters that could be responsible. People hold grudges against other people, so they also have motive, and yeah, there's just so much going on. But this is actually told by Hastings, who is Poirot's very faithful companion. I love Hastings. I think he's such a great character. And then we of course have Poirot, who, let me tell you, on the audiobook that I'm currently listening to, sounds like Ewan McGregor in Beauty and the Beast, the live action film, and if you've heard that accent, you know that it's not the best. So that is the only thing I have to say that is quite negative about the audiobook, but other than that, it is really good so far. I'm having a really good time listening to it, and I do think this is one that I'm going to take my time with because obviously I'm not currently driving to school. Tom and I do take Kiwi for a walk together at the minute as well because we're both off, and so I think that when I go back I will have more time to listen to this, and I will probably finish it quite quickly after that. So yeah, this is a really interesting one so far. I'm so happy to be starting the Poirot books, and I'd honestly say I'm about 4 chapters in. Chapter 4 makes sense actually. It's 38 pages in. So I've only gone through about that much, which doesn't look that fantastic to be honest with you. But yeah, very much enjoying it, and I can't wait to see how this all unfolds and how Poirot's brain works as he tries to figure out who the culprit is. For now though, as I mentioned, I am going to run myself a bath. I don't know whether to cook food before running a bath actually. That might make sense, then I can kind of relax the rest of the evening, so I might actually do that instead. But I am planning to sit down after that and get through the Butcher and the Wren, as I mentioned. I'm not sure if I can finish it all in one sitting, we shall see. But yeah, I'm very excited to continue on with it, and I guess I will just update you guys once I have some more to say. I am very pleased to tell you guys that I have finally finished these 2 books. For you, it's only been a couple of seconds, but for me, it's been about a week, which is really awful. I am so sorry. I know I say this all the time, but this first week back has just been insane. It's been so busy, and I just haven't really been wanting to sit down and film, to be honest with you guys. I have definitely been feeling down about myself, and so I didn't want to put myself on camera. So yeah, it is currently the 15th of January, it's a Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of a new work week, so I thought I should finally wrap this vlog up. I even took notes, you guys, on The Butcher and the Wren, because I finished that one literally almost a week ago now, which again is crazy, and I didn't want to forget what was going through my head, so I did write the notes down, which I will obviously go through with you guys in a second. But I did end up giving The Butcher and the Wren 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. There was a plot twist in here that I didn't actually guess, which was pretty mind-blowing actually, because I am quite good at picking up on little hints, and yeah, I was just completely in shock. I think as we got closer to the reveal, I was kind of like, no, wait, what? No. And then it happened and I was like, oh my gosh, what? And yeah, I was just really confused, to be honest with you, but it was one that did make sense, even though it was still a little bit far-fetched. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I definitely had some mixed emotions whilst reading it, and yeah, it just kind of came out of nowhere but also didn't. So yeah, I don't know. If you've read this, please do let me know your thoughts without any spoilers in the comments. It was definitely a wild ride, and yeah, from that point onwards everything obviously kicked off, because what was revealed in the plot twist was quite major, and so the police had to kind of get involved even more and try to catch this killer. This book also had my heart racing throughout a lot of it. As I mentioned at the start, this does kind of throw you straight into the gruesome, gory bits with the torture scene. That obviously continues throughout, but more towards the end, it is just a suspenseful time when you know that this killer is out there watching these people, but the people are unaware that he is there. And it just creeped me out. So I loved it. That is what I really wanted from this book, and I am glad that I got to see that and got to experience these feelings. I will say though that this book did leave off on an unsatisfying note, which, as I mentioned, is something that I find really annoying in thrillers, and I'm not quite sure what to actually make of this ending. I'm not sure if we're getting a second book, but then I'm not sure if there's reason for it. I don't know. It just had me quite confused and a little bit unsatisfied. I would have liked to have seen everything be wrapped up, but maybe that's just me living in an ideal world here. I don't know. But to be honest, that is my only real gripe with it. I have looked at some reviews. I've seen that people have commented on the writing style and the lack of character development and things like that, which I do agree with to some extent. However, the way I felt reading this book is what is reflected in my rating. So I gave this 4 stars. I may even bump it up to a 4.5, we shall see. But I just had such a good time reading it. It is definitely what I needed, and so for me at this point in time, this book is a 4-star read. And I could look more in depth into the reviews, but I don't want it to really taint my experience. I am always open to hearing other people's thoughts, but to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to change my standpoint on this at the minute, because as I mentioned, I had a good time reading it personally, and that is what I wanted from this book. So very, very happy that I read this one. Again, don't read it if you're squeamish or if you don't like murder or torture or are triggered by anything surrounding those topics. It is definitely a heavy read that goes into a lot of gruesome detail, but if you're like me and are kind of intrigued by that, then this is a really good book. It is a short one as well, so you are sure to fly through it, even though it took me about 2 weeks. We're not going to talk about that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it for what it was, and I think I'm going to gift this to my mum actually, so that she can read it and let me know what she thinks. And then we of course have The Mysterious Affair at Styles. I did finish this one last night, and then I watched the ITV adaptation of it straight away, which you will have seen. I love doing that, you guys, and I think that that's what I want to continue doing going forward. It was so cool to see the parallels between the book and the adaptation. They really did stay true to the core material. There was a lot of dialogue that was the same, and there were a lot of scenes that I was like, wow, I remember this vividly from the book, and you are giving it to me on screen as it is in here. So yeah, that was really cool, and I'm so glad that I did that now. But this one was fantastic. I have given it 4 stars. Could it be a 5-star read? Possibly, because again, I didn't see the twist. I have just told you guys that I'm good at spotting twists, but not in this vlog apparently. I honestly didn't see it coming, because we kind of have a reveal, and then the reveal turns out not to actually be the reveal, and then we have another reveal after that that's kind of like, whoa, jokes, this is actually what's going on. And yeah, it just kind of blew my mind. And as I mentioned, Agatha Christie has so many complex characters that any single one of them could actually be responsible for the crime. And so whilst you're reading, you're finding out bits of information about every single one, and you think, oh, this could be it, or this could be it, or he did this, she did this, they did this, wow, this is all kind of pointing to them being the murderer, and then of course it's not. So yeah, it was really, really good. I love Hastings in this as well, because he always likes to put his 10 pence in and kind of lists off his theories to Poirot, and Poirot's just there going like, nah, that's not right. And then he just leaves it and doesn't explain anything. So yeah, it's really cool to see their dynamic. I love the difference in their characters as well, because Hastings is obviously an English gentleman and Poirot is a Belgian detective who has recently moved to London to try and set up his own firm. And so seeing them come together to solve this murder was, yeah, fantastic, and I'm so excited to follow them as they solve more murder cases throughout the rest of these books. This was so good. As I mentioned, had twists and turns throughout, and if you haven't watched the ITV adaptations, what are you doing? You need to get on them, because they are fantastic. A lot of them are actually available on YouTube as well, actually, the full episodes. So if you can't find them on BBC iPlayer, definitely check YouTube, because yeah, they're so good. David Suchet is fantastic, and I can definitely see him as Poirot in this, and Hugh Fraser as Hastings as well. They're just perfect casting, and I'm so happy now that I've finally started the Poirot books, and I'm going to continue on reading these, starting with the second book for next week's reading vlog. So keep your eyes peeled if you would like to hear my thoughts on that one. But I am going to stop rambling about this, because I feel like I'm just gushing at the minute and I'm not making sense. But yeah, 2 4-star reads here. Both of them could technically reach the 5-star mark if I really wanted to be generous. We'll see what I think of them maybe after a few days and whether my opinions still hold. But yeah, I'm so happy that I've started off the year with 2 good books, and I'm hoping to continue that on into next week as well. If you have made it this far through into the video and would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and leave me some skull emojis down below. The method of murder in this book was poison, so we of course have the skull and bones on the bottle there, and I just think because we've had a lot of gruesome, gory murders going on, that is a very fitting emoji. So if you don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, but you would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video, and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. But that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It truly does mean the world to me, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!